Retro Racing Reports from 1975 Hoosier Hundred. There you go. Look at this program. On the cover, this year's program cover is a 4-color lithographic reproduction of an original oil painting by artist Ron Burton out of Speedway, Indiana, considered America's foremost painter of auto racing action. Burton pictures the 3 leaders fighting it out on the last lap in turns 3 and 4. Jack Howerton, last year's winner, and his first victory is pressed by Al Unser, who had his string of 4 victories broken, and Mario Andretti, who at the time was a 1974 USAC dirt track champion. The 8.5 by 11-inch cover is suitable for framing. Burton's works hang in the homes, offices, and business establishments of racing enthusiasts across the nation. Yes, but as a retro racing note, I would say you really ought to put the date and the location and the event name on your cover art. There are 2 articles in this year's program. We'll start with the first one, which is a promoter's dilemma. Postponement is the nemesis of the racing world. Everyone comes out a loser when a race is called off, regardless of the reason. Unhappiness happens instantly. If a crowd is assembled, it becomes surly. If the race is rescheduled in advance, fans who plan to attend the race on a given date get their noses bent out of joint. If the race is just delayed, everyone gets edgy and enthusiasm dims. But think of the poor guy who has to make the decision to postpone. Even if an earthquake happens, he gets blamed for it. If it rains, it's his fault. He's meaner than the Grinch who stole Christmas. He's worse than rain on a parade. He's as popular as a flat tire on a rainy day. Rain is the usual reason for postponement, but there are others. Rain at the wrong time can turn a dirt track into a quagmire. Even a paved surface is unsafe at any speed for racing traffic when it starts to pitter-patter. The drivers and car owners are hard hit by a rainout or a postponement. Most of them have traveled on a tight schedule from event to event, and rescheduling a race to another date creates king-size headaches. Picking an alternate date never satisfies anyone's schedule. The promoter of the event is usually the fall guy, and he's usually the poor soul who has to make the big decision to postpone or not postpone. Any decision that he makes is wrong. Any date or rescheduling is wrong for some of the fans, drivers, or owners, and there's no guarantee that the weather will be any better on the alternate date. The promoter also stands to lose a bundle on return tickets if the event has to cancel out. Believe it or not, first consideration is given to the racing fan when it comes to postponement or rescheduling. The alternate date will be as soon as possible following the original date, on a weekend or holiday to enable as many ticket holders as possible to return. The first question that occurs to most fans is, if the race is postponed, can I get a refund on the price of my ticket? The answer is no. The ticket is valid on the alternate date, but no refund is made. This is standard policy for all outdoor events as indicated on the admission ticket, beyond auto racing. However, if the event is canceled, which is always the last resort, ticket money will be refunded starting the first business day following the cancellation date. So let's have a good day tonight, right on schedule, okay? Save us all some trouble. The Roger G. Wolcott Cup. When members of the 1959 Indiana State Fair Board established the Roger G. Wolcott Cup as a perpetual award for the annual Hoosier Hundred, they provided well-deserved recognition for the Indianapolis sportsmen who did so much to make this 100-mile championship race the finest of its kind in the nation. It was Mr. Wolcott who led the movement which brought auto racing back to the Indiana State Fairgrounds in 1953, after a lapse of 6 years, and he served as chairman of the Fair Board's committee for that first Hoosier Hundred presentation in September of that year. Safety was his chief concern, but he also worked tirelessly to establish a comprehensive pattern of operation which would assure the continued success of the event in future years. Racing lost one of its staunchest supporters when he died suddenly in the fall of 1958 as the result of a coronary occlusion, and the Fair Board took official action to honor his memory by authorizing a perpetual Hoosier Hundred award in his name. Final decision concerning the form of such a trophy was delegated to Speedway President Tony Holman, who was one of Mr. Wolcott's closest friends, and Director Joe Quinn. They searched for something which would reflect Mr. Wolcott's interest in the fine arts, as well as its sincerity and the dignity which marked his connection with the sport of auto racing, and they found it among a collection of museum pieces on display in a New York silver shop. It's the George III Irish Silver Cup and cover, bearing the arms of St. George, and created in Dublin, 1805 by William Ward. As a perpetual trophy, emblematic of everything that's best in racing, it'll be on display at the Bank of Wolcott, pending restoration of the Wolcott home. The names of all Hoosier Hundred winners are inscribed on the silver band which circles the base. Each year, however, the Hoosier Hundred winner will receive a miniature replica of it with his other awards. Jackie Wins a Thriller, story by Robin Miller. It's just been a year since Jackie Howerton introduced himself to racing fans everywhere. That was the afternoon that Howerton outfought Al Unser and Mario Andretti at the Indiana State Fairgrounds to capture the 22nd Hoosier Hundred and his first United States Auto Club victory. There were over 20,000 people present, and another couple of million looking on from the wide world of sports telecast, and most had never heard of the handsome young man from Tulsa, Oklahoma. It wasn't because Jackie didn't have the talent before that day. No, it was because that was one of his first-class rides he'd ever acquired. Oh, sure, it was the only turbocharged offie dirt car in the field, or ever for that matter, and he had some extra horsepower. But it wasn't the easiest machine to handle, and Jackie did a super job of controlling the tempo and the lead for all 100 laps. He's back again this season with the same mount, but he's just got a plain old Chevy under the hood like most everybody else. Yeah, not having that turbo offie puts us even with everyone else this time, said the 32-year-old Okie in his western accent. The turbo gave us an advantage, but it was awkward too. It was hard getting into the first and third turns, and you had to be extra smooth with the throttle. Well, Howerton built up as much as a 17-second lead during the race, but near the end, with the help of a yellow flag or two, Unser and Andretti slid right up behind him. Unser even bumped him and coming into the second turn on the final circuit, but Jackie never lifted. He scooted past Al and took the checkered flag. It was a popular victory because everyone in the racing fraternity likes the fella who works as a full-time race car fabricator for George Bignotti. Yeah, I told my wife Becky before the race that if we didn't do real good, we were going to pack up and go back to Oklahoma, said Howerton. Well, obviously it was my biggest victory ever, and George made it all possible for me. Well, Jackie, after mopping up the Oklahoma Super Modified competition for 5 seasons, came to USAC in 1971 to run some sprinters. I've always been kind of a pessimist, so when I came back here I didn't expect to run any higher than maybe 6th place, he says. But the car I built handled so bad I was terrified to drive it. It scared me so bad I felt like a rookie. I'd never even seen a cushion before I came here either, and I tried hard for a long time. The first year, I was a complete daze. But you know, I've never been very confident, and I'm just now getting over being impressed with everything at USAC, said the father of 3. Howerton, who finished third at Springfield this season and dropped out of DuQuoin with a broken motor, got to drive one of Bignotti's champ cars during the tire test at Phoenix in 1974 and hopes to get a real ride someday. It's kind of hard for me to ask George if I can run, says Jackie. I was kind of hoping to drive his third car at Indy in Pocono this year, but we've had a lot of motor problems and it just didn't work out. But I'm just waiting till next year to see what happens. Well, he deserves a chance, and Bignotti probably wouldn't ever regret giving him another ride.
Hey, there's Harold. Glad you enjoyed that video. Be sure to like, subscribe, share, put your comments down below. There's a lot more where this one came from.